All right, AuctionSnap 101. AuctionSnap is software designed for your online auction or your in-person auction or your hybrid auction, whatever you need. It is a place for the public to be able to see your different items that are in your auction from their phone. So they are logging into AuctionSnap, which is just a website. So you're going to send them the link to this thing where they can see all of your items. Those items they can bid on. So if you're having an online auction, they can bid on those items. Or you could have buy it nows, or you could be teasing them with what you're going to sell at the live auction that's going to be in person. So you could have items in here that they're not bidding on online, but they just get to see the images. But the point is that they get to see all of your stuff that you're selling in your auction. So it is an auction management software. From the makers of DonorSnap. DonorSnap is a CRM database. So AuctionSnap is a separate program to run your auctions. At the end of that, and you have all of this money that you've raised at the auction and everyone who bought things, we can then integrate that back into DonorSnap. So if you're a DonorSnap customer, any transactions that happen through AuctionSnap, we can send back to DonorSnap when your auction is over. If you don't use DonorSnap, AuctionSnap has reports at the end of it for what you made. Those reports go out to Excel, so you could integrate those with QuickBooks or another CRM database that you use if you don't use DonorSnap. So there's lots of information on our website, auctionsnap.com, for our features, just an overview of information of features, how it works, pricing, of course, and then an entire support knowledge base. So if you're interested in buying the product, there's written instructions online. I am working on a laptop right now, so this webinar has, the screen of a laptop. But most people who are going to be using AuctionSnap are going to be opening up on their phone. So it is going to be much smaller, than my laptop size. So what they would see, is going to be more that size than stretching across my entire laptop. You are probably going to use your laptop, your computer, as the admin to set things up, getting in and uploading your items, creating your receipts, that kind of thing you're going to be doing on a computer. But the night of the event, people are using their phones. So it will look a little bit different from that user experience where they won't be all stretched across the screen here. And I only have one line of items. I don't have 300 items, but imagine that you did. This page would scroll and scroll and scroll through all of the wonderful items that you have available at your auction. So Nancy, the auction attendee, is going to click on a link that you send to her in an email, hopefully, maybe, or a QR code that you have on a flyer when she walks in the door to a physical auction, depending on how you're doing it, if you're doing it online or if you're doing it in person. But some way, Nancy is going to get access to AuctionSnap. She's going to create an account. That account is important because she has to accept communications. Yes, she wants to receive texts. Yes, she wants to receive notifications. So she has to accept those things. And also some bidding options. Does she want to bid anonymously? Does she want to set up automatic bidding? So there's a few things that each person is going to have to create, in their little account to log into AuctionSnap in order to be able to see the items. You also can set it up that in order to bid, they have to put in a credit card. It's not going to charge their card. Nothing is going to automatically charge ever. At the end of the night, when they've won everything, they will have the option to buy those things or not. They still can choose not to buy those things. So again, their card would never be automatically charged. But it is a stopgap between, spiders and bots and other little garbage things coming into your event and bidding on things, but they don't have any intention of actually buying them. So you could make it to where Nancy would have to put in a credit card in order to bid on items. And then your event is happening. People are bidding on the different things throughout the night. They can set up automatic bidding. So they put in their amount, I'm willing to go up to $300. They put in their bid, somebody else outbids them. It automatically raises their bid. The next person automatically raises their bid, and we go on through the night. The different items are going to change colors based on what's happening. So if I am the current winner of Sports Basket number 2, it would be green. If I then lose Sports Basket number 2, it will turn red. If I get outbid, I'm also going to receive an email instantly. So if I'm not actively watching it and staring at the screen, I will be notified when I've been outbid. So the idea is, this active event, whether you're opening up bidding weeks in advance for your online auction, or it's all happening at night, one physical event. Again, we've got buy it nows, so I could just click on that one and buy it. And then we've got some that says right on it that these are for the live auction only. So these are just teasers so that you can see what's going to happen at the live auction. Live auction, I'll show you the admin stuff in a minute, where all of that gets entered. But at the end of the night, when bidding closes and the website essentially shuts down, you cannot accept any more bids, then you're going to get an email that says you won. And that's going to trigger you to go to your cart. Your cart will be in the menus, way up in the top left. You've got menu items. I'm not actually logged in, so I don't have all of the different menu items, but your cart would be up there. And they can go to their cart and it'll have all of their things that they have won, both in person, live auction things that were manually entered, anything that they bought through the online auction. If they didn't check out earlier with the buy it nows, those would all be there. So all of their stuff would be itemized. And they can opt out at that point. Oh, I actually don't want that trip to Tahiti. Why anyone would say no, but if they want to say no, they can uncheck that at the moment. And then an email will go to person number 2. So now the second person says, hey, you actually won the trip to Tahiti. So again, just because they won it doesn't mean they have to buy it. And only at the end, when they say, yes, I actually want all of these things, then they decide to use the credit card that's stored on file or use a different card. So again, no automatic charging of the card. So that's safe for them. But they can use it, at that time to check out. So that is the idea of the user experience. The admin experience starts here. If you have never seen AuctionSnap or EventSnap before, this is what the admin world looks like. I am the Carson Valley Hospice House. This is my pretend demo organization. So my information is up at the top. And I have lots of different events. So we have 2 products. We have one called EventSnap. That is for all of your ticketing, sponsors, and tickets to the event management. That's a totally separate program. And then we have AuctionSnap for the auction, which is what we're talking about today. However, they have a combined admin world. And when I green button over here to the left, when I add a new event, that event creates both an EventSnap side for the ticketing and sponsorship if you purchase that program, and the AuctionSnap side for the auction if you purchase that program. If you don't have both, then you wouldn't have an event button. If you don't have AuctionSnap, you wouldn't have an AuctionSnap button. Okay, so when you create an event, it will create whatever your subscription includes. So I have both. That's why I've got both buttons down at the bottom. So we're going to look at my school fun run. So right out here in its little box, I've got some brief information about the event itself. Remember, the event is the ticketing and the sponsor. When the auction itself happens, the link to the event, ticketing and sponsorships, the link to the auction. This little arrow is the link that takes me right to my auction. So here is the website for it. So when you create an event, it will have its own URL. It creates its own website for it. Then you can put that link on your marketing. You can put that link on social media. You can put that link on your website. And also it creates a QR code. Same thing, put the QR code on your marketing. So either way, that's right here. The minute that the event gets created, the link is generated and its QR code. Plus, I have a little quick synopsis. How many bidders have I set up? How much have I made already in this event? So I can see that right from the screen. You can have as many events as you want. So I have multiple events. I can clone them if I'm going to have this event again next year. And I did all the work this year and I uploaded all of my logos and my thank yous and all of those things. I can clone it and do the same event next year. I can make changes to it next year and stuff too, but at least it starts from a clone so I don't have to completely reinvent the wheel. I can disable ones that I don't want to use anymore if they're officially over. I actually have a lot more events in my system, but a lot of them are disabled. And so I have them hidden. So I only see the active ones. When we go into the actual auction management, so we click the green button on my school fun run. This takes us into the full admin world of AuctionSnap. There's a lot of buttons under here, but they're broken into different sections. Setting up your auction. This is where the work comes in, uploading all of your items, getting all of that built. The activity that's going to happen while the auction is going on, manually entering bids for those people that do not want to work on their phones and they want to do it manually. And so they come up to you and they say, I'm going to bid on this purse. Well, then you can enter that yourself. So activity that is happening at the event. Reports at the end. Who are all of my winners? What is the summary of the auction? What did I make? And then finally, if you are a DonorSnap customer, we integrate back to that CRM database. So you've got Nancy's transaction of how much was charged on her credit card, what she bought, and we've got that in a spreadsheet form, and we want to send that back to DonorSnap as an auction purchase. And so I can link that back to my database. I'm not going to go through all of this because it would be way too much, but just to kind of show you the different things that you can set up. Obviously, the settings of your event, sponsors. I'm already too far. I'm into the items, but the page before this, the actual first screen that they get to where they type in their email where Nancy creates her account, there will be an area where sponsors can show their logos down at the bottom, and they kind of rotate through, a few seconds on each sponsor logo. So you can upload your different sponsors there. You can create different drop-down options that are going to go into the way that you categorize your items. I'll show you that in just a second. all of my participants. So once Nancy creates an account, then I would be able to see them in here as a participant. I can edit their information if I need to. One of the things that might happen through here is setting up paddle numbers. So in your settings, got bidder numbers. And if you wanted to start bidder numbers at a particular number, you could do that. So that kind of labels them with that bidder number. It also is a number that just gets assigned to them by the database. So that's happening automatically. But if you wanted paddle numbers also, if you're going to do a paddle raise, you can assign those. Let's look at the items. So obviously uploading your items is the biggest part. I have a bunch of items. They're already listed here. I can change their sort order. Right now, they're really in the list of how I entered them. And so in my auction, they're in the list of how I entered them. But I might want to change that around, put all of my premier items at the top, put my live auction items at the top, however you want to do that. But you can change the order of them once you get uploaded. So, or once you get them all added in here. So you don't have to know all of that in advance, and add them in a perfect order or add them alphabetically or something. Just put them in there and then you can change the order later. I'm going to green button over here and add a new item just to kind of walk through all the different things that you can do here. You number your items, you kind of come up with your own numbering system. So however you want to do that, we'll start with a 501 here. I don't know what I've got. I'm going to click on the image and see what we could do. Let's do, I don't know which ones I've already used. Let's do the Raiders basket. Okay, so I can upload multiple images. For me, it's just kind of my habit to do the picture first. That way I know exactly what I'm talking about here. I might already have. Nope, I don't have that one in my auction yet. Okay, so we're going to do the Raiders basket. We get a short description. The short description is when you click on the item, the description, it's kind of hard to see, but it's right here on this screen. It's right here on that front page. Okay, so we've got soccer mom fatigue. This wagon basket has you covered. It's a short description. Okay, so that's going to go right on the front page. Long description is a lot more information, but they have to click on item details to get into the long description. So they're not going to see that right on the first page. So long description, pickup instructions. How are they going to get this thing? So you're telling them, what they need to know about the item. Donation type and accounting code. These are DonorSnap fields. So integrating back to your DonorSnap database, how do I want this to appear? And it's going to pull drop-down choices that you already have in your DonorSnap database. If you don't use DonorSnap, you can still use those fields, and then they would go out to that Excel spreadsheet at the end that you could integrate with your other program, whatever you use. So we're going to call this an auction purchase in the general fund. We have other fields in DonorSnap. We have campaign, appeal. Those are going to be created when you do the integration back to DonorSnap. So that way, every single transaction that happened through this is all going to be tagged with the same campaign. The reason that we do these here is in case my Raiders basket is a little bit different from some other option, is different from something else. And so they might have different donation types. This is an auction purchase, but it might have been a raffle ticket. It might have been, something else. So that's why we give you the option to do that here. You can have tags. Tags are when the people are looking at all of your auction items. Way over to the right is a filter button, and it would have tags. So if I only wanted to see jewelry, I only want to see travel, I only want to see health and beauty, So if you're going to have a lot of different auction items across the board, then you might want to create some tags in advance so that you can tag, your Raiders basket as a sports thing, and then people can find just the sports stuff. And then we've got our 4 different options. We've got online. It's just these guys out here available to bid on. Have a fun evening. Live auction only. So these are going to be teaser items where people can see them. They cannot bid on them. Buy it now. So if you have a whole bunch of t-shirts that we're selling, you can buy it now, and then a buy it now only in person. This is kind of like the live auction. It's a teaser. So they can see the image that something is there for sale, but they're going to have to walk into the building in order to buy it. When you do an online auction, so my Raiders basket, my intention is for people to bid on it, but I also could put a buy it now price in there if I wanted. If somebody just wants to come in and swoop in and buy the whole thing, I can do that too. But I would still put it first in the online auction. So I've got one to sell. Its fair market value for this is probably $60 worth of stuff. We're going to start the bids at $10. I'm going to let somebody buy it now for $75. I'm going to go up a little bit. Max quantity per purchase. I only have one to sell, so max quantity is 1. Bid increments. Let's go up by $3. It was donated by Jim Thompson. Location. So locations, the intention with locations is that you could potentially turn off bidding at different times. So say your auction is in a school where you have a bunch of different classrooms. So classroom number 1, that location is going to stop their auction at 7. The one across the hall is going to stop at 7:30. Classroom number 3 is going to stop at 8. So the reason I have locations is to tell people where to go to find this item, sure, but also so that I could potentially turn off bidding at different times. So even auctions that are all in the same room, you might turn off different tables at different times. You might have a premier table that has 5 very special items on it, but that table turns off at 6 p.m. You got to get in early to get on that table. That's the idea. If you're doing just an online auction and we're not doing anything in person and everything's turning off at the same time, then just use the location that's called default. You don't need to set up anything else. But the idea is that you can have turning off at different times. One main image, you can have multiple images. So if you're selling a car, if you're selling something really exciting that has multiple images, that is not a problem. And then we submit that and we add it into our list. I'm going to go back to my auction and refresh that. And now we've got my Raiders basket. Again, they put it at the bottom of the list because it's in the order of how I entered it. So it got added to the bottom. So we can see that it is currently at a $10 bid or a $75 buy it now. Those are the options. We click on it, it gets a little bigger. I get a little bit more information. Short description is out here. Under the details, I get my long description. I also am going to see all of the bid history. So I would be able to see everybody that has bid on it, what the bids are, unless the person bids anonymously, and then it'll say anonymous. Other things that are going to happen throughout the night are things live. So if I'm doing a live auction, once I see who purchased that item in person, right? So that's happening in person with my paddles. Then I would come into the live auction winning bid entry and I would say, okay, my season passes. Then I'm going to add in the person that won that, what their bid was. The reason I'm doing this is so that it becomes part of their cart that they can then check out on their phone and pay with their credit card on their phone. So live auction, winning bid entry. We get questions about doing things like fund a need, paddle raises, those kinds of things. And most people handle that by uploading an item that is a dollar amount. So the item that you have is $1,000, $500. And so those you could then enter as a live auction winning bid entry if you're doing that kind of paddle raise in person, or could just have them use that online through an online auction and buy it that way. You can manually check people out. If they walk up to you with a check, if you have a table there at your physical event, then you can check them out. Same idea here, where you will look up the person. It will have all of their items itemized over here. You can uncheck the things that they don't want. You will be able to also run their saved card. Be careful with that. Or you could change their payment method down at the bottom to a check. Notice on here that you also can make an additional donation. They will have that option in their own cart where they can make an additional donation to all the things that they're buying as well. And then the last thing is the communication tool. This is where you are sending out alerts to your people on that final push of the event. So if it's a one-night event, you're sending out messages, or if it's the end of a 2-week event, you're sending out messages. So we have an email that is a reminder that you have unpaid items in your cart. So this might be useful after the event is over, help you in tracking people down. And then you also can be sending out those messages that I was mentioning. So we've got texting, which actually goes through the phone. So actual texting system. This is going to be really useful for those events where, you know, it's kind of going over 2 weeks of an online thing. They're not necessarily staring at AuctionSnap right now. And so we need the text to go through their phone. This one that we call in-app messages, these are going to pop up on the page of AuctionSnap. So these are intended for that evening event where everybody is looking at their phone because they're doing all of their bidding, if they've got AuctionSnap open, and then these messages are going to pop up there. So this is sending a broadcast message that, you know, room 2 is closing bidding in 10 minutes. Don't forget to do this, you know, all of those broadcast things that you need to send. And this is why Nancy and your bidders, they have to opt into this. They have to say, yes, I want to receive those. Yes, I'm available for texting. We don't want to be sending messages to people that don't want to receive them. The other things that you would need if you are a DonorSnap customer and you're looking to integrate that kind of information we have through our website, step-by-step instructions on how to do that. So if you're a customer and looking for more information, that's where that's going to be. It's basically linking the people to the people and then making some configurations of, you know, what the financial transactions look like, and then those would push. So it pushes the people and then it pushes the payments themselves. That's really AuctionSnap in a nutshell. I mean, really, we are uploading all of our different items for people to bid on, doing a few things manually, checking out a couple of people that sent us checks, sending some communication tools, and having a fantastic, fun event. So again, with your AuctionSnap subscription, you can have as many events as you want. EventSnap is a separate program. That's if you're looking for the ticketing, sponsorship, you know, that event management thing. When you go to auctionsnap.com and look at the pricing for AuctionSnap by itself, or if you're looking for AuctionSnap and EventSnap combined. This is also going to give you access to the online knowledge base. And then you also receive training to help you set up your first event at least, so that you can one-on-one with one of our trainers and get everything that you need to set up your first event. Additional trainings down the road if you need it. If you have any questions, if you're interested, if you want a demo of the program specifically talking about your event, email us at sales@auctionsnap.com. Sign up for a demo with one of our salespeople, and they can talk to you specifically about your needs and things that you're looking for. But hopefully that's everything that you need to get your gears going and get excited about it. It's a fun little program. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop my recording